So I know we have a lot of new and returning players, and some of you guys want to know what is some of the best skill builds to use in the game that can help you get through some of the hardest content in the game. Well, this is going to be that build for you. So if you're new or you're returning and you're not a real big fan of run and gun or sniper builds, you like to use skills to put out insane amount of damage, well, this is that build right here. Now we do have 4 directives active, and one of the directives is actually no longer available, and it's actually better that it's not, because this is the one where when the skills go on cooldown, you have to run around and pick up these little trophies that you want to say, and then it refreshes your skills. So it's kind of good that it's not. But this build, you can run 4 directives. You can even run 5 directives if you don't want to use this exotic, but highly recommend getting it. If you haven't got one already, if you're new or returning, head over to Summit. If you complete 5 challenges in Summit, that's where you'll be rewarded your first one. You also can farm this in the open world, but that's where you can get your very first one if you've never gotten one. From Summit, do 5 challenges. But look, we just completed Elite Patrol, and we're finishing this Heroic Control Point. So I'll have the full build breakdown for you, and we'll definitely have more gameplay for you guys to see in a second. We just have the leader to take out right here, and he's gonna go down pretty fast. But I know a lot of you guys are asking, yo Skills, what is the build you are using? Show us already. We really want to see. Hold on, let's finish off this boss right here, and we'll get right into it. So you can see our skill literally took out the boss for us, right? So guys, what we're gonna do here is let's get into the build, because you guys have waited long enough. So a lot of you guys wanna know what build that was, so let's dive right into it. So for the specialization, we are going to be running the technician class. This is gonna give us 10% skill damage along with 1 skill tier, allowing us to run 1 blue, as you guys can see, and 5 yellows, but still reaching the cap of 6 skill tier because of the technician class. For the mass, we're running Empress International. This is where we have our armor roll. We're gonna have a 3-piece Empress International. You're gonna get that 10% skill health, 10% skill damage, and then skill efficiency, which is skill haste, skill damage, status effects. It's all the goodies right there. So yeah, this is actually why skill efficiency is so good. So we're not only getting more damage with the 2-piece, but more damage with the 3-piece. So we have armor rolled on here, skill damage, we have armor regen, we have 1 armor regen rolled on here, and then I'll show you where else we have armor regen, and we have 12% protection from elites. If you don't want to run protection from elites, you can actually put crit chance here, and it'll allow you to hit a little bit harder and maybe crit with your capacitor. For the chest piece, we're running our 2nd piece of Empress International. This is going to have skill tier, skill damage, skill haste, and then I have another protection from elites mod here. Now again, you can run crit chance here if you would like. We have kinetic momentum. When in combat, each skill generates a stack while active and not on cooldown. Stacks increase your total skill damage by 1%, total skill repair by 2%, up to 15 stacks per skill, and then it is lost on cooldown. We are running 1 exotic piece, and this is the piece that you guys, if you don't have it, you guys can actually swap this out. For instance, if I didn't have a waveform holster, I would probably run a different 2-piece, and I'll explain that in just a second. But the waveform holster, if you don't have it, you can actually run something that gives you some skill damage, and I'll show you that in just a second. But for the waveform holster, we have skill damage, we have skill tier, skill damage, skill haste, and the reason why this one's so good is because it generates a stack of 3% skill damage on one of your skills every second, but it does cap at 10 stacks, and then it swaps back to the other. So at any given moment, you can have up to 30% skill damage on 1 skill, and then it'll slowly go down, and you might have 15% on each, and then it'll go up, and then you'll have 30% on the other and 0 on one. But this is actually really good, especially if you're running some type of skill damage like I'm doing with, I'm running the assault turret and then the assault drone. So we have the Empress International Guard right here, and what this is going to do is going to give us 20% skill duration. It's going to allow those skills to stay up longer, right? So you don't have to worry about getting them back quicker. Now we do have skill tier on here. We have armor regen and we have skill damage, and that's where we're getting that 1% armor regen, and I'll show you our full armor regen in just a second. For our gloves, we are running the Empress International. So this is our 3rd piece, giving us that skill efficiency. We have skill tier, skill haste, and skill damage right here. And then for the backpack, we have a 1-piece wyvern wear that gives us another 10% skill damage. So we have skill tier, skill haste, skill damage, and then we have a protection from elites mod. This is where if you don't have these protection for elites, or you want to put a little bit more damage on your capacitor and you want to be able to crit with it, put crit chance. And then we have tech support, skill kills, increase total skill damage by 25%. The reason I like this is because if I'm not shooting, I'm always going to have that guaranteed skill damage of 25% for 25 seconds as long as this is active. But this is just something, it's up to you guys. But yeah, that 25% is pretty good. And some people like other talents. I like talents that help my skills put out damage without me having to put out too much. But with the capacitor, yes, you're going to be trying to hit, and I'll show you that gun in a second. So for the skills, we are running the assault turret, which I was telling you guys before. We have a tier 6. So this one's going to be doing 132,000 damage without any of the buffs. So that's pretty good. And you're going to see the buffs get even stronger with the capacitor, and I'll show you in a second. And then we have the striker drone, and that's going to give us 70,000 base damage. Duration on is 290 seconds, 15-second cooldown, and then obviously 14-second cooldown right here. Now I will tell you, if you guys are running a 4 directives on, you guys know the cool skill ones is actually pretty easy to keep your skills up, especially as you guys were saw in the gameplay. I was just running and picking them up, but so that's how it would work if you have that directive active. We are running the capacitor. Now the capacitor is going to be sitting at 88,000 damage, 41 in the magazine, and then we have 16% expertise on this. Is really up to you. The main damage is going to be coming from your skills, but yeah, if you guys get this up, we have assault damage, assault rifle damage. We have a 9% damage to armor. It won't let me fully optimize this. There's a bug going on right now, but obviously once I can do that, I'll max that out. And then we have 10% damage targets out of cover on this one. I re-rolled this till I got that roll exactly. Now, why is the capacitor good for skill builds? Well, shooting enemies builds a stack up to 40. Each stack grants 1.5% skill damage. So a lot of skill damage for that striker drone and that assaulter. That's why you guys want to get it there. Now, as I was saying, is you're gonna have 10% crit chance. You're gonna have 11 in the rounds. You're gonna have 30% crit damage and 10% weapon handling. That's why if you don't want to run protection from elites mods, you can run crit chance, and then that would actually put you a little bit higher than 20%. I'm at 20% right now, but imagine if you put three mods on there, your crit chance is gonna go up. We have 75% crit damage, 75% headshot damage, 9% armor damage. This is gonna go up once I can max mine out. And then if you go over, you'll see we're sitting at 900k armor, and then we have 13,000 armor regen, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it can get you out of those like situations where you're taking a lot of damage, you're trying to get a little bit of life. And then look, 37% protection from elite. So if you're doing a lot of heroic control points, this is going to work really well for you. But yeah, that is how I have this set up. Now I am running 4 directives. If you want to run 5 directives, what you can do is just get a TDI card, and then you can actually put another blue on this build somewhere. And what that's gonna do is you'll still hit, you'll get a skill tier, you get pistol damage, and then you can put in sync. So then hitting an enemy grants 15% skill damage. Using a non-skill or shield damaging enemy gives you 50% weapon damage. If you're doing both, that's 30% skill damage, 30% weapon damage. So if you guys don't want to run the capacitor because you don't have it, well, you guys can find the TDI card, and this will be a great one for you. And ideally, you can do it whatever. If you want to run 5 directives, then you put the TDI card. If you guys want to run 4 directives and be able to use your capacitor, the capacitor is going to be the best way. But this is the build here, guys. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey, Nothing But Skills out.
Get them! Moving to their side! Try to be quick! They need you to move! Are you for real?